You interest me, Hugo. But let's see how right you could really be. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil. In fact, I do want to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. The other fun fact, I have 15 minutes to give you my really early thoughts and impressions on Hugo. No last name. That's going to come back to haunt him later. Bluelock, TM, in terms of how I feel about him, what narrative role I think he's going to play, not just in this match, obviously, but in the grand scheme of the narrative, and obviously throughout specifically the rest of this arc. So let's not waste any more time. Let me get this 15-minute timer going right now. So, Hugo is an interesting character, mainly because he brings an interesting, yet not interesting flavor to the New Gen World 11 in a bunch of little ways. So, if you did not know, we currently have 6 confirmed New Gen World 11 members. Those 6 being Kaiser. Wait, hold on, let me scroll a little bit higher. There we go. Kaiser. Why is it Kaiser? Kaiser. Say, Lorenzo, Loki, and Bunny Iglesias. But you said 6, Pencilman. You said 6. Indeed, I did say 6. Because number 6 is not at the end of this chapter. Number 6 is, in fact, am I dumb? I am. Number 6 is Hugo. Number 6 is the current 6th and latest revealed New Gen World 11 member that we have. And very specifically, the reason he catches my attention in a particular way, and why I say he's unique yet not unique, is because he's stay at home, but not at home? This is like you asking your mama for some fast food, and she gets you it, but it's not the fast food you asked for. And let's talk about why. Very specifically, Hugo fits into a particular niche, at least from what we've seen so far. He seems like one entirely based around the idea of logic, rational thinking, execution based on data and data alone. And if he can't get that data out of you, he will rip it out of you through specific interactions. Very particularly, this interaction with Isagi right here at the end of the latest chapter at the time of recording, chapter 331, is what spoke all of this to me. He breaks down Isagi logically in a step-by-step passion and fashion, where he goes to understand that, oh, okay, so you have your initial base mix-up. Let me see how I can stop that. Alright, you have your secondary follow-up to that mix-up in case the initial mix-up doesn't work. Let me stop that. Alright, so you have the idea that you can work with the other teammates. Alright, let me stop that. And then you're gonna 1v1 me. Alright, let me stop that. It's very logical, right? It's very, okay, here's what happens first, here's what happens second, here's what happens third, here's what happens fourth. You know who else is very logical? You know who else is very reasonable? You know who else operates by this foundation of understanding what your opponent can do and then working against them in all the specific ways that only you can? Yet, literally, truly, honestly, and entirely Isagi Yoichi, but also, where is he? Where is he? Look at it's also Sei. That's why I say he's the Sei we have at home, yet not at home. Obviously, we do actually have a Sei at home. His name here. Can't even say his name, bro. Yori! I need you to do something! I know, he couldn't do much of the Nigeria match, but please, Hiyori, I need you to do something. But, that aside, we have Sei at home. It's Hiyori. But Hiyori is at home. He's on the Japan team. Hugo very specifically plays for France. Naturally, no duh. But, because of that, it's interesting to see, Sei at home, actually compete with our current Bluelock, right? And this is where I get slightly worried for Hugo's narrative role. And it isn't realistically just that. Another reason why I'm a little itty bit worried for Hugo's narrative role is because he is the second New Gen World 11 member on the same team as another New Gen World 11 member in Big Low, Big Key. Now, you may be like, what's the issue with this, Pencil Man? I'm a little bit confused on why you have a He's never going to be more relevant than Loki. Let me wiggle my fingers in front of your face and put it in even clearer terms. He will never be more relevant than Loki. Meaning, he exists as a, not necessarily superficial obstacle, but an obstacle that I highly doubt is gonna matter all too much. He screams Onazi, except worse, because he's more Kuso coded. Will that make him better? No. He's obviously way more good than Onazi and Kuzo ever were. Well, already, round start. He's obviously a New General 11 member. But very specifically, the worry I have for Hugo is since he very much clearly is Sei, even slightly down to the character design. Like, we don't have his color design just yet. At least I don't think we do. We don't have his color design yet, do we? I don't think so. But with it being the case, even like just hairstyle and design-wise, he is truly the Sei at home. And like, really not too much hairstyle-wise when I look at him side by side. I don't know. Something about his design, it just screams Sei. And like his position also screams Sei. You know, he's a center midfielder. And you know, his perfect balance between offense insanity and defense utility screams Sei. And the focus on logical breakdown and analysis in order to slowly but surely dismantle everything anyone can do, it screams Sei. I'm like, sure, it's cool to have an enemy Sei, but you know who else fit into the role of specifically acting as a pseudo-Sei of sorts in terms of the logical analysis and breakdown to Isagi Yoichi in particular and challenging him in the ideas of self-actualization and where he should stand within the general narrative? Oh yeah! It was Kaiser! You know the issue of Kaiser? You know, the other main character of the Neo Egoist League? You know, the guy who still is most certainly relevant and directly parallels Isagi and challenged his position in terms of being number one on his team and whether or not he should be a number two or should bow down to somebody else. Like, he's a fusion of two previous New General 11 members. And I don't know, man. He doesn't even have a last name. You're like, why are you focused so much on this, Pencilman? Why are you so focused on the idea that the guy doesn't have a last name? His name is just Hugo. Because it screams not too much relevance. Especially considering he's not the first character to overlap in terms of position with another New General 11 member. Obviously, well, we didn't know. At least I feel like we didn't know at the time that Loki was New General 11 member. But obviously both Loki and Kaiser are both strikers, right? So like it's not the first time the overlap has been the same. But even down to his playstyle, I don't know, it just feels so copy paste and rip from others. I'm not exactly sure how to feel about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he definitely acts as a good midpoint, and like I mentioned, he's the Sei at home that's not at home, where he works to challenge Isagi in a more specific way, because the where Kaiser existed to challenge Isagi was specifically on the same team, right? And in the context of a specific position. Kaiser and Isagi were both vying for number one under the assumption and agreement that both wanted to be number one and then both believed the other had the ability to be number one. Hugo specifically challenges Isagi in a unique way by asking him logically and bringing up the proposition logically that he's more suited to be number two. And very specifically, where I initially read this as projection in my 331 review, a commenter pointed out the idea that this is very likely not even projection, or has a possibility of not being projection at all. Rather, once again, a further deep dive into the logical assessment of it all. I'm sorry, Mr. Yoichi, there are just other better strikers. You're not even the number one striker of your current team right now. That's Ren. You'd be better as a center attacking midfielder. He is the living embodiment of the consistent, ever-evolving critique for Isagi of like, hey, gang, cool story, bro. Nice that you want to be number one striker in the world, but your build, mid. Your stats, mid. Your shooting options, mid. Why don't you just be a good little boy, be a CAM, and get the goals when you want to get the goals and support other people? That's the more logical thing to do, aren't you, Mr. Logic Man? Huh? And that all works. Except by the core conceit of the narrative, Hugo kind of has to be wrong. Because I don't see us ending up in an Aoshi scenario where Isagi realizes that, oh no, actually you're right, Hugo. I think I should just be number two because that's the more logical decision to make. I think Isagi exists in that perfect balance between rationality and irrationality. And I'm not saying he's already found the perfect point there. Obviously, he's currently struggling with what it even means to be number one and the extra weight and pressure that comes from it and the uncertainty that comes from it, which is a good thing for him to have. And I do think Hugo exists well in a good narrative point to challenge Isagi on that. Very specifically, the concern from his own uncertainty, and Hugo highlighting it and even exploiting his uncertainty in this moment, seemingly entirely unconsciously, just by breaking Isagi down logically. It works! But this is very much a case of like, I see this character working for this game. Not so much again later. He screams, and I'm talking yells at the top of his lungs, Manshine Yukimiya. And unfortunately, the more and more time goes on, Uber's Hiyori. Except once again, he's on the other team, right? We're like, yeah, he gonna be relevant in terms of this stepping stone for Isagi and helping Isagi recertify himself as number one in terms of his own head and obviously other people's heads. And also, once again, reminding the fandom for the 50 millionth time that Isagi will be the number one striker. Kind of the whole point of the narrative. He's not going to succeed to others just because he be more logically suited. But that's it, man. Like, I'm worried. Like, not in the way that I'm worried for like a Kaiser, right? Kaiser is eternal. That man's going to haunt us forever. And I love it because I love Kaiser, but he's going to haunt us forever. A character like Loki, he's going to haunt us forever. Like I said, I'm assuming Friends is going to win, right? I'm not even talking about Hugo in the sense of like, oh, is Hugo going to be the reason that bluelock manages to win? No, not in this game. They're going to lose. Hugo's going to beat Isagi in this context, but still, I'm not worried for Loki. Loki has more than enough setup in the striker position. Kaiser's more than enough setup in the striker position. I'm not worried for them. I'm not even worried for Bunny. He may be like, you aren't worried for Bunny? Isn't Bunny another striker? Kind of, sort of, yeah. But I'm not worried for Bunny at all because he already has another existing dynamic with another Neutron World 11 member. And he also has a last name. He's Bunny Iglesias. Meanwhile, Hugo doesn't. And you may be like, well, it's so early into Hugo. We haven't seen Bunny play for more than 2 seconds now. Like, come on now. So, essentially, I'm also not worried for Lorenzo because Lorenzo is just in a super unique position as a center back / midfielder. Like, he's perfectly fine. He has his own unique niche. He doesn't overlap with anybody. Meanwhile, Hugo directly overlaps with another New General 11 member, will seemingly serve one particular purpose as a secondary piece on a team that already has another better New General 11 member, and notably, his existence is overcomplicated yet attached to Charles, especially in this context, where Charles is also another dumb, stupid, cracked midfielder, who also just has like a better, more unique design, more unique personality, more unique playstyle. And at least so far, we haven't seen Hugo's aura yet. And once again, it's very early. And that's the thing, right? That's the one thing I do need to emphasize. As I give Hugo all these critiques, as I compare him to other characters, I say, I'm not really too sure how much he's going to cook because of this, that, and the third. It is very early on, right? I'm essentially taking, at most, 3 appearances of the character and being like, let me project how you fit in the entire narrative based on these specific criteria that I've decided in my own head. And do I think I'll be wrong? Maybe? But once again, I just don't really see much coming from Hugo in the long term. I don't think Hugo's going to end up as anyone's favorite New Gen World 11 member. But maybe I'm just tweaking, right? Like, it really depends on what his backstory is, why he doesn't have a last name despite being a character of such high importance, and how hard he's going to stick to this idea of the logical extremes, and specifically trying to push Isagi down into this number 2 spot as a person not vying for the same role as Isagi on the opposite team. That's the main thing. That's what saves Hugo overall interest-wise for this game and for the foreseeable future. He's what Isagi realistically could be. A person so entirely consumed by logic and rationale that he sort of abandons himself. He's the Isagi that went all the way. The Isagi that truly embraced the idea of, I will simply become a machine for victory. I will become a machine for our goals and our success. No matter what happens, as long as it's done and as long as it's done logically, this is the best way to do it, and so I shall have it done. He's what Isagi essentially was gaslighting himself into attempting to become. So he's going to be a good cautionary tale for Isagi. And in fact, I think he's going to be a good cautionary tale for Isagi. I think he's going to beat Isagi's behind this entire game, presumably. But, people with cheeks, his longevity is something that I question. It really depends on how he's going to be utilized in the long term, and whether or not he starts building dynamics with other characters. What I'm really interested to see from Hugo is his dynamic with specifically Charles and specifically Loki. These are the 2 characters where I want to see that dynamic for. Especially considering Charles' existence is meant to support Loki, presumably in the non-World Cup status, in the club teams, if people pointed out. I'm interested to see if he has any dynamics there. Oh, and let me just quickly bring up, as I run out of time very quickly, the whole Destiny idea. It is interesting. It's going to need more elaboration. The idea of fate and destiny is a cool play on the idea of godhood that Isagi and Ego were just recently talking about. So, like, there is all that there that's set up for Hugo, especially with the whole idea of you would think a person so focused on logic wouldn't believe in destiny. But ultimately, I'm assuming Hugo means destiny in the sense of, like, everything is destined according to logic. Free will isn't necessarily a thing as long as you have all the information, right? If I know every bit of information about your past and your history and all your previous decision making, I can almost guess with a 99.9% certainty what your next decision was going to be, even if you quote unquote had free will to choose it. That's the kind of destiny that I think Hugo's referring to, where as long as he has all the information, as long as he has all the data, as long as he has everything he could need to know about the person he's playing against, then him overcoming somebody or him failing to overcome somebody is basically destiny. He either has the stats or he doesn't. He has the information or he doesn't. But people can be predicted, logic can be foreseen, thusly destiny can be read logically in order to reach certain conclusions. That's an interesting idea to bring up. It's an interesting parallel to Isagi, but still, it's something that I think will be sort of, if not hard, countered by the idea of the true destiny, quote unquote, as in the god of soccer. It will probably be overcome by the illogical destiny-breaking nature of multiple blue lockers, including a certain Isagi himself. So overall, I like Hugo, but I'm worried for his longevity. If I had to sum it up into one sentence, that's it right there. But I am currently out of time. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave huge no? So stupid. Believe huge no in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that link to notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you're going to have a Patreon below. You can support me for as low as $1 a month. You things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, here this is to review, ad variations of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, early ad-free access to not all my videos on the main channel, all my videos on the main channel, and the second channel that got the reaction, link in the description down below, where I drop 45 minutes to hour long, or really more, multi-hour long reaction videos every Saturday at 1 p.m. EST. The link is in the description down below, and also in the card in the upper right hand corner of the video. You go check out the reaction channel, and yappy of that, I do also have my Ko-Fi link down below if you want to do a one-time donation. 5 beans for a short video, 20 beans for a long video, any beans at all. Warning, if I ever get a donation of 4 beans or more, not 4 beans, like 4 digits, because I saw a request, and it will take a lot. It will take a lot, but that can be done in the Ko-Fi. That can be done anywhere. I lose my mind, and I do the thing that needs to be done. But with it being the case, I also have my Twitch link in the description down below. That got the controller every Friday, 8 p.m. EST. We yap, we chat, we have a wonderful time. That'll be linked in the description down below as well. But now I want to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Guillaume, Pura Ura, Enzo, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, CCC, Romano Furen, Dino, Hector Gonzalez, Tim Thomas, Kaving, Julian Perez, RXN, Nevis97, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Karu Deer, Christian Carter, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, Sino King, Hamza Idrisi, BNA DNA, Edwin Igbinoba, Straw, Athenzi Shear, Antavius Mitchell, Azo2404, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Victor Jacobs, Todd, Dre, Axis XC, The Practical One, Aswin Hedi Presetia, JMD KD, Devi Pesiet, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Funny Dude, Jagoda, Plant Crone, Striker Man, Brandon Payne, Black Sage, and Multi-Batman Superman. Then I leave a thank you to Artline Art Tier patrons: A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Sean, Dread Zoen, Midnight Lord 21, CJ, and Karina Hernandez. Then I leave a thank you to our Ink Tier members: King RTX, Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06, and Zom. Then I give a thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Walking Munoz and Walkie Munoz.